Greatest game in World Series history. A game that rekindled the whole country's love of baseball.
What's your best pitch?
My best pitch is a strike. A sinking fastball, which you grip like this so you get only 2 seams into it. And then if you turn your hand a little bit like this, it comes out, the wind pushes here, forces it down and away from a right-handed hitter. Thereby, he thinks it's a good pitch. At the last minute, it sinks. He hits the top half of the ball, and he hits a ground ball to Burleson. Burleson picks it up, throws it to Yastrzemski, 1 away. And you do that 3 times or 27 times in a ball game, make perfect sinkers, you'll get 27 outs. Unless the hitters are smart, and then what they do is they know it's a sinker, they get up and they drive the ball to right center field between Lynn and Evans, and that's called a double.
Hello and welcome to Oriole Park at Camden Yards.
Base and back it up.
Hi again, everybody, and welcome. I'm Dwayne Kuiper, and it's a great day for baseball. Partner, you ready?
I am, Kuiper. I don't think you could find better conditions for a baseball game. I am psyched about this.
So then you go to a cross.
Today's American League game is between the Boston Red Sox and the Baltimore Orioles. Here's the game's first batter, Johnny Damon.
This guy is not a very good hitter. In 1970, the Cincinnati Reds faced the Baltimore Orioles in the World Series. The Reds were young, aggressive, and powerful,
And a
led
strike
by Pete Rose, Tony Perez, and Johnny Bench.
The guys are going to have to make an extra effort to keep warm. And a fastball in for a strike. On the ground.
But the Orioles had the best third baseman in baseball.
Base hit to lead off the inning.
Brooks Robinson was born in Little Rock, Arkansas, was discovered playing ball in the Church League, and was beloved by Baltimore fans.
High for a ball.
He was 33 years old in 1970, a veteran of 15 Major League seasons, winner of 10 Gold Glove Awards. He was called the human vacuum cleaner. One by one, he destroyed the hopes of Cincinnati's vaunted hitters.
2-2 the count.
Lee May,
He made a really good pitch for strike 3, Mike.
He falls behind, makes great pitches, however, comes all the way back and gets the strike.
He's got him.
Tony Perez,
The one hopper to third.
This lefty is pretty good against left-handed
Double
pitchers.
play, steps on the bag for the fourth. Here's the throw to first.
Fastball for a strike.
And it's a double play.
Johnny Bench,
And it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Johnny
He
Bench
strikes out about 8
again.
for 9 innings. A pretty impressive total.
Full hitters. Robinson dives
Just a
through
bit
one to
inside
one-hander.
and makes it 2-1.
What a play by Brooks Robinson.
And the golden glove artistry of Brooks Robinson was never more apparent than on that last play.
The Orioles took the series in 5, further helped by 6 runs batted in by Brooks
He's on
Robinson.
first with a base hit.
Pitch and a long drive to left field. That ball's going, it's going, and it is gone. A home run. Robinson is doing it all. By far the outstanding player in 1970.
The next batter is Mike Lowe.
Brooks Robinson, Cincinnati's Pete Rose said, belongs in a higher
First
league.
pitch a bit low.
He's got one consistent out pitch.
Belt high, inside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike.
What was incredible about Clemente was not only how skilled he was at each part of the game, but this kind of velocity that he played on each play of the game, even years when they were pitiful, and they had no chance to get into the pennant or anything like that. He would throw it in, he would pick guys off, the guys send over to advantage of a turn going around first.
Hard, clean slide and still
There
managed
was
to
just
pick a double
something
play.
intense about this guy that was not necessarily what was going on.
Here's the lineup the manager is sending out.
Roberto Clemente
On the
learned
mound
his
to make the start
baseball
for
in
the
the cane
visiting
fields
team,
of Puerto
Bronson
Rico.
Arroyo.
And for all of his Major League career, he played spectacularly for a little publicized team, the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was a savage line drive hitter with a phenomenal throwing arm,
Stepping in,
proud of his Latin heritage, often plagued by injuries.
Roberto Clemente epitomized a certain kind of cool. He had a certain motion with his neck because he had a bad back. He said his back always hurt. He had a certain motion with his neck. And all of us imitated this motion
to the right
with his neck. So you see all these kids in school who are doing this because all these black boys in school, they pick this up from Clemente.
Arroyo delivers out of the zone, and it's 1-2.
Sometimes you try to make the hitter chase your pitch.
And then
That's
for the
exactly
Puerto
what you
Rican
saw
community,
right there.
he was, their guy.
Got him.
And was very proud of it, really did a lot for his community, the guy who really gave a lot back, and got terrible press in Pittsburgh. He was always considered this guy who was a hypochondriac and this
Next
and
at
that.
the plate, Willie
And I think
Bloomquist.
mostly because the white press really took a long time for them to get with the fact that their best player
Great
was
pitch,
black.
he hit the corner.
This guy loves to whack
The
balls up
Pirates
high.
management and the local press insisted on calling him Bobby. Clemente
And he gets the
insisted
call
on
strike.
Roberto.
He's throwing 129
And he was
innings.
furious that although he had hit better than 300 for 13 seasons, won 4 batting titles and 12 straight gold gloves, he was not given the praise he deserved. In the 1971 series against Brooks Robinson and the Baltimore Orioles, he took the opportunity to show the world all that he could do.
Trying to chase him down and left. He's on first with a base hit.
Enormously proud man. Enormously
This guy
proud.
isn't great against
He always
right-handed
felt that
pitchers,
he'd
but
been
he does
overlooked
well.
because he wasn't playing in New York or California. And I think
Strike
that's true. We
all
did
that's
slight
the
him.
need.
And in
Terrific
71,
pitch
he
there,
played in
Parker.
a way as if to
Fastball
prove
right
us
where you
all
want it
wrong.
for a call
Everything he
strike.
did was take this, Will. Look at this, watch this. And it was eagle-like.
That'll end the inning with a runner stranded at first. With one inning played, the game is scoreless.
A Clemente home run, and the Pirates
Leading off the
lead
inning,
1-0.
Jason Varitek.
Clemente batted .414 in the series, hit 2 doubles, a triple,
He missed the
and
strike
2
zone with
home
a
runs.
100-mile-per-hour
Led
heater.
the Pirates
He's
to the
thrown 126
championship
innings this
in
season.
7
Batters
games.
have had moderate success against him with an average of 261.
A year later,
should be
on
very
September
careful pitching to
30th,
this guy. I've
1972,
seen him hit
he
balls that
passed
still
yet
have-
another milestone in his
He
long
misses with a
career.
100-mile-an-hour fastball.
Sometimes you try to make the hitter chase your pitch. That's exactly what you saw right there.
There's a strike.
Matlack on the 0-1. Bobby hits the drive.
The pitch is hit up the middle.
There she is.
He's on with a leadoff single. Ramirez digs in at the plate. Fastball over the outside edge.
His pitches consist of a four-seamer, a middle-of-the-road two-seam fastball, and an ordinary changeup.
That winter, an
He's tallied
earthquake
7
hit
wins and
Nicaragua,
3 losses so
and
far.
Clemente volunteered to carry relief supplies to the victims.
Misses with the fastball, 96 miles
On
an hour.
New Year's Eve, his
I like to see a
plane
hit-and-run
crashed into the
situation like
Atlantic
this.
Ocean.
The pitcher's behind the count, so he
His
has to
body
come
was
over, and
never
the pitch out is
found.
unlikely. So why not hit and run?
It's hit out towards short. He's off the base. He's there, safe at first.
Is now in the hands of the Supreme Court. The case involves the trade of Kurt Flood from St. Louis to Philadelphia. That case for Flood is being argued.
It was so difficult for the fans to understand my problems with baseball.
Misses with the fastball, 99
I was telling my
miles per
story
hour.
to deaf ears
1-0.
because I was telling my story to a
He misses
person
the zone with a
who would
97-mile-an-hour
give their
fastball.
firstborn child
Double play
be
situation.
doing what I was
Pitcher's
doing.
got to try and keep the ball down here to
He
force
just
the
could
hitter
not
to hit the ball on the
understand
ground.
how there could be
This
anything
southpaw looks for the
possibly
strikeout every time he pitches, and he usually gets it, too.
For nearly 3 years,
Gets the call
Kurt
for a
Flood had
strike.
been in the courts,
That is
fighting a
pinpoint control
one-man
right
battle
there.
with Major
Catcher
League
set a
Baseball
target on the corner,
over
the
the
pitcher
reserve.
just hammered it for a strike.
Despite the advice
was
of
a
the
nice piece of
Players
pitching. The
Union,
batter never seemed to
he
know
had
what was
left the
coming.
game in 1969 rather than be traded
Next up,
against his
David
will.
Ortiz.
What I told him was that I agreed with him in principle, but that
Misses
the
with the
courts had
fastball,
treated players as
99 miles
property
per hour.
and would likely do so
Sometimes
again.
you try to make a
and
hitter
that
chase your pitch.
his,
That's exactly what you saw right
attempt,
there.
well, principal
Hey, partner,
one
if the pitcher can keep the ball
was,
low in the zone, he might be able to
I thought,
induce a
doomed to
ground ball
failure.
to start, too.
And I worried about his knowing
There's a strike with the
the
changeup.
kinds of chances he was taking.
His number one pitch
in
is his
career,
fastball.
in a case that
Blazing
probably was a
fastball
loser.
misses. That
The
pitch
lawyers
was
for the major
99 on the
leagues
gun.
would not talk for the cameras, but in the courtroom they argued that the reserve
And the
clause
walk
is
puts
essential to
runners
the
on
future of
every
organized
base.
baseball.
Walks
That
always
without the
seem to come
reserve
around
clause,
and hurt you.
all the
Falls
rich
behind the
teams would
batter,
get
just
all
never
the
gets
star
back into the
players.
at-bat.
But Arthur Goldberg maintains that the reserve clause tying a player to
Misses
one
with the
team
fastball,
for the rest of his
99 miles
life
per
is
hour.
in violation of the 13th
One out,
Amendment.
bases
That's
loaded.
the amendment against slavery
There's
and
a called
indentured
strike.
servitude.
This dude is a pretty good strikeout.
Flood's
pitcher,
first
and
trial
usually
had been
tallies a
in
bunch
federal
every time he
district
throws.
court in Manhattan in 1970.
I think Kurt Flood on the stand was treated miserably.
And that one's
by the
in there
federal
for a
judge.
strike.
He almost
The
taunted
outfielders
him.
need to come up gunning on
A
a
judge
fly
who
ball.
showed great respect for
That's
the
three
witnesses
strikeouts.
who were white. From the bench, the judge asked Kurt
Damon
Flood,
takes his turn at bat.
this is not as easy as playing center field, is it? You know, with a sarcastic tone in the middle of a difficult
balls and one strike.
cross-examination.
No
They asked
active
the third
player
base umpire
dared
if he
testify
swung.
on his behalf. Only owner Bill Veck and a handful of retired stars came to
Pull the
Flood's
bat back in
defense.
time.
He went
Jackie
around Cut, with the
Robinson
outfield he did.
walked into the courtroom, and there was a hush.
Mora
He
makes
has
the
such a
tag for the
presence
out.
that
Heading into
pin
the
drop.
bottom of the second. No score here.
His hair was white, and he was walking with a cane, but he still had
The
that
next batter
swagger.
is John Casey.
He's so noted for it. But he testified on my behalf, and with a soliloquy that would send chills up and down
Fastball
my
on the
spine.
inside corner for a strike.
This guy's a stud, Kite. He expects to be
Flood
allowed now
lost
all the
in
way to the
district
ninth
court
inning every
and
time.
then lost again in the Court of Appeals. And on June 18, 1972, by a vote of 5-3, the
Nobody
United
out.
States Supreme Court ruled against him. Baseball was still exempt from antitrust
Caught by
laws.
the left fielder.
The reserve clause still stood.
I am particularly pleased that the court has recognized the need for a reserve system
Ground
and has
ball
further
taken to the left
recognized
side.
that baseball has
Two
not
outs.
disregarded the
Whoa,
extremely
made a nice
important
throw right there.
position the
Straight
player
right on
occupies. Over the long history of baseball, the reserve system has constantly evolved to improve the position
Fastball
of
for
the
a strike.
player.
Terrific pitch
I'm
there, partner. He
confident
put the
that this
fastball right where he
process
wanted it for a called strike.
Will continue.
We lost because my guys, my colleagues, didn't stand up with me. And I can't make any excuse for them.
That's a three-pitch
Had we
strikeout.
shown any amount of
After two,
solidarity,
the game is scoreless.
if the superstars had stood up and said,
Dirksen is
"We're
up.
with Kurt Flood," if the superstars had walked into the courtroom in New York and made
Misses
their
for a
presence
ball.
known,
That was a purpose pitch.
I think that the
Change
owners
up
would
off
have
the
gotten the
plate,
message
hoping the
very
batter would go
clearly
chasing.
and given me a chance to win.
One ball, one strike.
Kurt Flood never played Major
He
League
gets it
Baseball
over for a
again.
strike.
That is pinpoint control right there. The catcher set a target on the corner, and the pitcher just hammered it for a strike.
One down.
Bloomquist made an
It is
outstanding throw.
especially
That was right
fitting
on the
that
dime.
today, in the midst of baseball's most
The delivery.
exciting event, the World Series, we pause to
There's
honor
a high strike.
Jackie Robinson.
This pitcher will get you into the sixth inning, 9 starts out of 10.
He misses the zone with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
Sometimes you try to make a hitter chase your pitch. That's
Thank
exactly
you
what
very
you saw
much,
right there.
Commissioner.
Gets the call for a
I
strike.
would just like to say that I was really just a spoke in the wheel of the success that we
He
had some
crushes it.
25 years ago.
Solo
I would like
home
to
run.
also say that I would be a real pleasure
He
if
needed
Mr.
to do
Rickey
more
could
with
have
that
been
pitch than
here
to
with
deliver
us
it
today,
low.
but to the members of his family, my entire love and gratitude for the things that he's done over the years. And I also want to say how pleased I am that my family can be here this afternoon. I'm extremely proud and pleased to be here this afternoon.
Stepping in,
but must
Mike
admit,
Lowe.
I'm going to be tremendously more pleased and more proud When I look at that third base coaching line one day, it'll be a blackface managing your baseball. Thank you very much.
He misses with a 97-mile-per-hour heater.
25 years after his historic debut, Jackie Robinson agreed to throw out the first ball of the 1972 World Series.
He delivers.
He was just 53.
He started
but diabetes had dimmed his sight. Heart disease had slowed his step, and he was disillusioned by the lack of progress in race relations. Jackie Robinson died 10 days later.
Hey, that wasn't a bad display by the pitcher. You've got to credit
his autobiography published after his death, Robinson recalled playing in his first World Series game. There I was, the black grandson of a slave, the son of a black sharecropper, part of a historic occasion, a symbolic hero to my people. But I must tell you that it was Mr. Rickey's drama and that I was only a principal actor.
Fastball for a strike.
As I write this 20 years later and sing the anthem, I cannot salute the flag. I know that I am a black man in a white world. In 1972,
they set that
in 1947,
get a ground ball right here.
At my birth in 1919, I know that I never had it made.
2 out. That's an infield base hit.
He didn't want to go around, but no way he's going to complain now that he got the base hit out of it.
I don't know of anybody besides Robinson who could have done what
the Orioles have someone warming up in
many
the
of the black players. Reggie Jackson, for example, said later.
Up next,
he's the only one
Manny Ramirez.
who could have done it.
Robinson, okay against left-handed
Mr. Rickey told him you'd have to turn the other cheek. And as Mr. Rickey said, it wasn't long before he didn't have any other cheek to turn. They've simply been beat off. I think that they said that Robinson died from diabetes and other things.
Gets the call for
I think he died from the
That is
load
pinpoint control right there. The catcher set a target on the corner, and the pitcher just hammered it for a strike.
He may have been injured on the play. Cook and I certainly wish him the best. He's done for the day. The new pitcher, Rick Bauer. The count is full.
God, this guy's a monster on the mound. His knees are at the eye level of the hitter.
He's breaking for second. Got him looking. Score one that half inning.
God, this team's really struggling. I don't know if they'll ever be able to climb out of the cellar.
Today we must balance the tears of sorrow with tears of joy.
A little low.
The guy does not have a real live fastball.
With the sweet, death and life.
There's a strike.
He's got 4 solid pitches that he'll throw in any count.
History was a rock in the water, creating concentric circles.
1 and 2.
The pitcher nailed the corner of that right on target.
He was medicine.
Ball inside.
He was immunized by God from catching the diseases that he saw.
Right there.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Lord's arms of protection enabled him to go through dangers seen and unseen.
And then he digs deep, makes great pitches, and gets the strikeout.
And he had the capacity to wear glory.
Next up, Larry Bigby.
Jackie's body was a temple of God. An instrument
no balls
of
in one
peace.
strike.
His pitch list consists of a good 4-seam fastball, a changeup, and a curveball.
We would watch him disappear into nothingness and stand back.
That's 6
as
strikeouts.
spectators.
Hey, he gets strike one, he just keeps plowing away from the strikeout.
The next batter is Miguel
The mercy
Tejada.
of God intercepted this process Tuesday and permitted him to steal away home.
He got a strike
Where
upstairs.
referees
He's tallied 7 wins and 8 losses
only
this
the
season.
supreme judge of the universe speaks.
That one's hit foul, but there's some room to make a play. 1, 2, 3, and the inning is over. After 3, the score is 1-0. Bottom of the order coming up.
Jackie Robinson.
This guy's pretty good against right-handed pitchers. Jackson takes one high.
And
he's batting .279
now,
with 7 home runs and 53 RBIs.
Very important to me. Roger Kahn and his family came to visit me a week after Jack died, and they had a blow-up of Jack sliding into home.
2 balls, 1 strike.
And when you're looking for simple ways
2-2 count.
Deal with the grief, the deep, deep grief and mourning that you're feeling, you can catch on to a thing like that. And somehow it is part of baseball too that you make the Giamatti said it best, you make the trip around the bases and somehow you land at home, and home has so many
He sends this pitch towards second base.
And so many meanings for people like us who
made him look easy on that out of first guy.
Central bases of our
Stepping in, David Ortiz.
Family people who always had a home, and we always could come home, and you got it was a retreat from a world that can lay a lot
Get
of
towards the shortstop.
So
they make the play.
That blow up from room to room.
Next at the plate,
just
Nixon.
Looking at it, I knew he was safe. Nobody could hurt him again. He wouldn't hear the name calling. He would only hear the cheers. And somehow I could fantasize
they
my
ask
little
the third
story
base
about
umpire
where
if
he
he
was
swung.
and how he was doing, and let him rest in peace.
1-2 count. It's hit out towards
he was
short.
Buried a few miles from Abbott's Field.
And he makes the catch.
That was not an easy catch at all, big boy. Great defense.
Next, Willie Bloomquist. Nobody out.
1973, a period of Watergate turmoil in Washington. In October, the Reds were playing the Mets in the National League Championship Series, and Potter Stewart was
it for the
hearing.
Got a good jump on the ball.
Oral arguments in the Supreme Court. He had a law
Stepping
clerk
up to the
feeding
plate
him
with a
information
signal
on
already,
what was
Melvin
going on
Mora.
elsewhere. And at one point, the clerk handed him a slip of paper, and on it said, "Cranepool flies to right. Agnew resigns."
Out of play. Three strikes.
Hey, the pitcher wins the bat. Sweet pitch to get the catch.
The pitch is hit to right field. Nixon should have no problem. That retires the side. After 4, the score is 1-0. Next up, Johnny Damon.
In the early 1970s, major league owners would do anything to pull fans into the ballpark. Mascots, exploding scoreboards, disco demolitions, players in shorts, and endless promotion.
Exactly what you saw right
Baseballs, T-shirts, caps, bats, hot pants,
sometimes you try to make a hitter chase your
live
pitch.
bullfrog.
Exactly what you saw right there.
One of the most flamboyant owners was Charles O. Finley of the Oakland Athletics. He was an old-fashioned autocratic entrepreneur with revolutionary ideas. To boost the sagging fortunes of his team, he hired an astrologer, devised garish double-knit uniforms, even experimented with a bright orange ball.
Sometimes you try to make a hitter chase your pitch. That's exactly what you saw right there.
To attract younger fans, Finley paid his players bonuses to grow out their hair and beards and mustaches. They were certainly the most distinctive-looking team in the early 1970s. And for 3 years in a row, 1972, 73, and 74, they were the best team in baseball.
Partner, that was a pretty good play on a line drive. The infielder got a good jump.
They had 3 key players: Joe Rudy, Bert Campaneris,
Sometimes you try to
Reggie
make a hitter
Jackson.
chase your pitch. That's exactly what you saw right there.
and 3 superb pitchers: Vida Blue,
and 67 RBI.
Raleigh Fingers, and Jim Hunter, a North Carolina farmer whom Finley dubbed Catfish because he thought a countrified nickname would add to his box office appeal. Jim Hunter didn't need it.
I loved the way he pitched.
3-2 count.
Nobody worked the corners the way Catfish Hunter did.
And the pitch.
He would start inside and outside and up and down. If the umpire was giving him the call, then he would widen the plate and widen the plate.
What a great
Played a 17 inches wide, and batters used to say by the end of the game, he was throwing to a 22-inch wide plate.
Going into the bottom of the fifth, the score is 1-0.
I remember Catfish Hunter losing
The next batter is John Casey. This guy here is dangerous in the batter's box.
Washington can't get that one in. He's gone. Going to be all for Catfish Hunter.
And the reporters rushed over thinking they'd find a pressed ball on the green. He was found. And he was just the same as he'd been before. And he finally said, well, he said, the sun don't shine in the sitting dog's ass every day.
And here's the delivery. The pitch is hit
But
down the
even
line.
Finley's championship A's couldn't draw 1 million fans a year. All across the American League, attendance figures lagged behind the harder-hitting National League.
The delivery.
In 1973, to remedy that imbalance, Finley and other owners pressured the American League to try an experiment. Designated hitter, which allowed a better-hitting player to bat for the pitcher without removing that pitcher from the game. Everybody adopted the designated hitter. Everybody but the oldest organization in professional baseball, the National League. From then on, the national pastime would be played under 2 sets of rules.
Remember 1972, before Huey Kuhn and Charles Tillman got out of my hand for good. Didn't allow me to hit. Voltage had me 0-2, and I moved up on the box, you know, to take away his curveball. I knew Freehand saw me do it. So Lolis tried to bust me inside with a fastball, or so I was guessing, and he did. And I hit a line shot to right field. And Al Kaline, who was the ancient mariner of their ball club, he had pigeon shit on his shoulders because he was already a statue. He came in, the ball went under his glove, and I rounded first, rounded second. I came around third, and it would have been an inside the park home run for sure, but I had never been there before. And I'm looking for Popowski.
That's
People know the Red Sox. Popowski's only 3'6".
Stepping in,
and I couldn't pick him up in the
Jason
crowd. He was
Barrett.
way down the line, waving me home.
is
And
not
I
one of
came
this
around
guy's
third, and I couldn't pick him up, and I slowed up. Finally,
That one right there was very close to drill.
Last at bat.
Let's see if that fires him
Red
up.
Sox uniform.
Out of the zone, that's a ball.
Sometimes you try to make the hitter chase your pitch. That's exactly what you saw right there.
There was a time, according to Jim Lefevre,
He
when he was
swiped
playing
one
with the
base.
Dodgers, and they had a great pitching staff, particularly Koufax and Drysdale. And they were sitting around early in the
Taken for a
season
ball.
going down the whole National League. And they were trying to figure out how to pitch to these guys. And they'd say, Banks, well, pitch to Banks this way. Mays, pitch
Full
to
count
that way.
here.
Lee Matthews, low and away. Finally came,
Hits a
someone
foul
said,
ball.
Henry Aaron.
What a battle this is.
Silence in the Dodgers clubhouse. Finally, a voice piped up and said, make sure there's no one
That's
on
4
when he hits it.
strikeouts.
When you talk about making a good pitch, right there, he was really backed up against the wall, and then he digs deep, makes great pitches, and gets the strike.
Stepping up to the plate with a single already, Manny Ramirez.
The Braves hit it, clinched the cup. They came close before, but this is it.
And the pitch.
For 20 years,
Strike with a
Henry
fastball.
Louis Aaron had been the quietest of superstars. Self-assured, utterly reliable, intensely private. Born in Mobile, Alabama, seasoned in the Negro Leagues, he played brilliantly for the Braves, first in Milwaukee and then in Atlanta.
The pitch is taken out to right. The side is retired.
But
in
as the
order.
1973
After
season
5 and a
drew
half,
to a
Baltimore
close,
trails
he
by
was
1.
suddenly the focus of even more attention than Roger Maris had endured 12 years earlier. He was just 15 home runs short of Babe Ruth's lifetime record of 714.
He reaches with a leadoff single. Stepping in, Larry Bigby. One out and nobody out.
300 writers who had largely ignored him till now began traveling with the team, determined to be on hand when he broke the record. But at season's end, his total was still one short of tying Ruth's mark.
Hit to right field. Nixon should have no problem.
The pressure from the media and the fans continued all winter long. I was a prisoner in my own apartment, he said.
Next at the plate,
I lived like an outcast in my own country. At one point, he was receiving 3,000 letters a day, most of them unsigned.
Dear Hank Aaron, with all that fortune and all that fame, you're a stinking nigger just the same.
Hey, partner, if the pitcher can keep the ball low in the zone, he might be able to produce a ground ball to start, too.
I hope you never live long enough to hit more home runs than the great Babe Ruth.
Fastball is in.
Things happened to me all through the 3 years that I kind of erased out of my mind.
On the ground, gathers it in with his glove.
I got treading letters.
The runner goes hard into second.
Like this.
The runner was on the second baseman like a freight train. He kept his concentration.
I went to play in baseball parks like Chicago, Cincinnati, all these ballparks I played in.
After 5, the score is 1-0.
Sports and things like this. It was terrible, terrible. It was bad.
The bottom of the order.
I don't want them to forget Ruth, Hank Aaron said. I just want them to remember me.
There's a strike, the slider.
Pitcher said, come and get it, but the batter could
not. On opening day, 1974, the Braves played the Reds.
There's a close pitch, called a ball. Up the middle, and the ball dropped. Got him at first base.
Home run parade. The crowd is up. The standing ovation. His teammates are there to greet him. A 3-run blast by Henry Aaron.
The corners are guarding the lines. Up next, David Ortiz.
4 days later, on Monday night, April 8th, at home in Atlanta, Aaron faced Al Downing of the Los Angeles Dodgers. His mother and father were watching from the
This guy
stands.
is fun to watch. I hope the fans in the bleachers brought their gloves or their face masks.
He's on first with a base hit.
He lined that ball right past the infield, and there was no doubt it was a base hit. Good bit of hitting. Partner, this would be a great time to lay one down and move that runner over.
Slider is low for a ball.
Aaron in the second inning walked and
Bauer
scored.
sets for the 1-0 pitch.
He's sitting on 7-14. Here's the pitch by Downing.
Swing and a miss. He was late.
Slider went right through the strike zone. The batter just couldn't touch it.
Out of here. It's gone. It's 7-15.
Ground ball pulled to the right side.
Champion of all time.
Safe at first.
Monday night, April the 8th, 1974. Yes, Henry Aaron has done it.
Next up, Johnny Damon.
His teammates were home plate.
Runner on first with 2 outs.
I felt great. I felt like the world was lifted off of my shoulders. It was done, over with.
Deep fly ball to right field.
No matter what people thought about it,
over the shoulder. What a catch. All right, everybody, up on their feet. Time for the 7th inning stretch.
Yeah, I could use a bit of a break.
In the decades to come, the memory of the scene might blur, but the memory of the sound will remain with everyone who was there.
The next batter is Willie Bloomquist.
Cheers, the sound of Henry Aaron saying, I'm thankful to God it's all over.
The ball is hit right back
the
up the
sound of
middle.
Henry Aaron's back and hit the baseball.
He's on with a leadoff single.
At home plate, surrounded by an
Stepping in, 1 for 2.
down around as if it were a waterfall of appreciation. He was met by his teammates who attempted to lift him out of their shoulders. But he slipped off into the arms of his father, Herbert Sr., and his mother, Stella. I never knew, Aaron would say later, that my mother could hug so tight. New York Times.
Pitch misses for a ball.
They've set that defense a double play depth. You can get a ground ball
Henry
right here.
Aaron
They
was
might
the
get
last Negro leaguer still playing in the majors.
Partner, he gets ahead of him and never looks back. Sweet strikeout.
When he finally left the game, he had hit 755 home runs.
It had a terrible sag up there.
Garbage lays off outside for a ball.
I think the deepest part of the American psyche as well. It's always been, you know, a great game.
Hey, partner,
Pastime is a
pitcher
funny
can keep
word
the
for it.
ball low in the zone. He might be able to induce a ground ball to start, too.
The spirit of the people.
The count is 2-2. Gathers it in with his glove. They turn the double play.
Sports writers called manager Sparky Anderson's Cincinnati Reds the Big Red Machine. And in 1975, they more than lived up to their billing, rolling past their nearest Western Division competitors by 20 games. Then beating Pittsburgh in 3 playoff games to win the pennant. It was an extraordinary team, and its spirit was best captured by the third baseman, Pete Rose, who said, "I'd walk through hell in a gasoline suit just to play baseball."
The runner's moving. He steals second.
Like Ty Cobb of an earlier time, Rose played with a ferocity unmatched by anyone in the game. He stretched doubles into triples, singles into doubles, roundouts into singles.
They need to move that runner
Baseball
over
is a
third base
hard
right here.
game,
The batter
he
needs to get
said.
the ball, he can drive
Love
the
it
right
hard
side.
and it will love you back hard. Try to play it easy, and the first thing you know, there you are on the outside looking in, wondering what went wrong.
Hit on a line the other way.
It was that kind of
He's on
obsession
his
that
way
made
to
him
the
great. He
plate.
wasn't a man of great physical gifts
run
and talent.
scores.
He did it
That's
by,
an RBI
constantly
single.
by will. He willed
Coming
himself to
through on
be a
plays
great
like
man.
that can often be the difference between
But it was
win
this
and a loss.
concentration and
That's the big-time
focus that made him vulnerable to temptations and in the end, disgrace.
Cincinnati would face Boston in the World Series that year. The Red Sox, led by manager Darrell Johnson, had been almost as formidable as the Reds, seizing first place in the Eastern Division in early June and never relinquishing it thereafter. Then taking just 3 games to crush the Oakland A's in the playoffs.
Hit the left field. Puts it away for the out.
They were led by the veteran Carl Yastrzemski, a remarkable outfield of Fred Lynn, Jim Rice, and Dwight Evans, and 2 pitching stars unlike any other in baseball. Bill Lee, a junk ball pitcher called the Spaceman because of his unusual views on baseball and the cosmos, and Louis Tiant, the Cuban-born son of a former Negro League star who had the most distinctive wind-up in baseball.
I'm surprised if he's taken off right here.
Misses outside.
At the heart of their team was a dignified, battle-scarred catcher from Charlestown, New Hampshire, Carlton Fisk.
Waiting patiently in the on-deck circle is their big hitter.
Fisk going to try and lean in. He's got it.
It's hit out to center field.
I think of him as a Roman. I think of him wearing a toga. He walks in a classical manner. He is always upright. He's kind of Doric about it.
Stepping in 1 for 3,
He's learned his wonderful mannerisms.
1 on and 2 outs. 0-1.
And he stands in to bat. There's that last moment when he looks at the bat. He looks at the wood in the bat as if examining it for termites or something like that. And these mannerisms are going on year after year. And he really has been noble. He's lasted so well. And played
Pitchers
so well
ahead,
for so
1
long.
and 2.
Cincinnati had not won a World Series for 35 years.
The side is
Boston
retired.
have
The
not
home
won
team
one
coming up next.
for more than half a century.
After 7.5, the score is 2-0. Casey up next.
The first time I went to Fenway Park, I had the feeling that I was inside a pinball machine. And the ball that was hit acted like it was bouncing over the cushions, and it reminded me a great deal of Ebbets Field. Fenway's difficult to get to. There's no lavish parking. They've run out of real estate. It is what it is and where it is, and no more and no less. And the fans are close enough to relate. And the team means everything to them. The team represents everything that those people want to have represented. And so when the Red Sox win, all of New England feels better.
In the first game at Fenway, Louis Tiant surprised everyone, shutting down the big red machine, pitching the first complete game in a World Series in 4 years. And in the 7th inning, not having been at bat once all year, he started the rally that would propel his team to victory.
Come up with a good strikeout pitch.
Louis, Gullis fed him a slow curve, and Louis gets a base hit. They love him here, don't they? Crowd on its feet here at Fenway on an overcast, raw day.
Hit towards the shortstop.
And Petrocelli gloves it. In time.
He reaches with a single.
Red Sox have drawn first blood in the 1974 World Series. Look at that pitch. That pitch changed time zones coming up. It was so slow.
Despite the masterful pitching of Louis Tiant and Bill Lee,
Grounder to the left side.
the Reds won 3 of the next 4 games.
1 inning left. After 8,
He hit one at back to the left center field, looking up at the left field.
Coming up. It's the last inning, and it's still anybody's ball game.
Strikes out Fish for the second time. There he goes. Left center field. That's going to front again. More easily. There goes Philly to third. They're going to have a shot at him. Yes, time. They got him.
Inside.
He
checks his swing.
That was a close one there, Parker, but I'd have to say that he
Cincinnati now led the series 3 games to 2.
Hit to the right side, and he's out at first base. Stepping in 1 for 2, David Ortiz. This left-handed hitter is pretty good against right-handed
The
pitchers.
6th game, to be played in Fenway Park, was delayed 3 days by a cold autumn rain. Boston had to win it
really put a
to
charge
stay
in the ball.
alive.
Has the ability to hit the ball out everywhere, every time he
Game
touches.
6 still is the greatest
That ball is
baseball
driven
game ever
deep,
played in
and
the
you
series.
can forget
No
it.
doubt about it. All the way through, it kept astounding. He said it can't happen. It can't.
From the second
can't be
that
any
ball
more
comes off
like
the
this.
bat, everybody knew it was out of the yard. That was a shot.
It was October 21st, 1975.
Next at the plate, Trot Nixon.
Again, Louis Tiant pitched for Boston.
Peter down low for a ball.
That's how he got him 2 times in game number 1.
Gary Nolan was on the mound for Cincinnati.
A liner.
Curveball, he's out. First strikeout for Gary Nolan as Evans is called out.
In the bottom of the first, with 2 men on for Boston, Nolan faced center fielder Fred Lynn.
Left-handed hitters can have trouble picking up their breaking pitches.
Going back for me, forget it. It's gone. And this place is rocking.
Stepping in 1 for 4, Johnny
It was
Damon.
3-0 Boston.
Takes a pitch high.
Here's where I like to see him work when he's way ahead. And he strikes out.
Tiant was superb through 4 innings.
But back to pitcher and catcher.
But in the top of the 5th, Cincinnati fought back.
And there's a line drive left field. Yastrzemski going back will play it off the wall. Griffey scores the tying run, and Bench is held to a single.
The Reds tied it up.
foul ball.
In the top of the 7th, the Big Red Machine surged ahead.
Straightaway center field. Lynn is going back. That ball is off the wall. One run is in. Here comes Morgan. He'll score. And the Cincinnati Reds lead 5-3.
He's on with a base hit.
Well hit right field. That ball. It's fair. She's gone. It is a fair ball. Home run for Geronimo. And it's a 6-3 ball game. That's his second home run of this series.
In the 8th, Cesar Geronimo seemed to put the game out of reach.
Against left-handed pitchers.
Cincinnati getting a little bit closer. Their last
this guy's got to do something called marginally deep. They should score the run from third easy.
Bottom of the 8th.
Cincinnati was only 6 outs away from winning the World Series.
He makes the play.
Off his leg, Barbone.
The runner scores on the sac fly.
He got under it, hit it deep enough to bring the runner home from third.
And the Red Sox refused to give up, as the Reds did not give up in game 2. They staged some dramatic rallies.
Out of the zone, that's
I'm not
a ball.
surprised at what
He
they're doing
swiped
here.
6 bases.
With 2 outs and 2 men on, a Boston pinch hitter named Bernie Carbo, who had once played for the Reds, came to bat.
Bernie Carbo
Hit to center field.
And Carbo, I remember, was so overmatched.
First.
As he was up at the plate, the first 2 pitches, he looked just terrible.
After 8.5, the score is
Carbo
4-0.
a little bit late on the swing. 2-2 pitch.
Up next,
Just did get a piece of it to stay
the
alive. You
southpaw
talk
is
about
a
fighting off a
C-plus
good
hitter
pitch.
against
Like he
right-handed
hit that out of the
pitching.
catcher's glove. He did.
The pitch. Carbo hits a high drive. Deep center. Way back. Home run!
Swung on and missed the pitch on the corner.
I remember the darkness of the stands, and the movement in the darkness of the stands. It's an enormous noise game, and the game was tied.
That was a blast up in the center field bleachers. The game was 2 out. And
Yanked to the right side. And he's out.
The Red Sox are tied at 6-6.
Next up, Miguel Tejada.
The game was tied,
No one out
and it
and
stayed
one out.
that way through the 9th, the
Pitch
10th,
high.
the
He's hitting
11th.
276 with 22 long balls and 49 RBI.
Fly ball left field. Boston's got a shot. They're tagging up at third. Here comes the throw. It is in play. Here's the throw. Foster made the catch in foul territory. He needed a perfect throw to keep the Reds from losing this game, and it was. No question about it. Denny Doyle out at home. Well hit right
The
field.
Baltimore
Deep. Evans is
Orioles
going
are
back
down to their
near the
final
wall.
out. Stepping in 1 for 3, Willie Bloomquist. It's a pretty rare occurrence to see this right-handed batter string together a bunch of successful at-bats versus righty pitching.
Spectacular catch, and take a look at this. White Evans
Taken for a
went
ball.
way back.
He swiped
had no
20
room
bases.
to go anymore. Watch it. One-handed catch. Big play of the game. And now we go to the bottom of the 11th inning, still tied.
Pete Rose came up to bat in the 10th or 11th inning, and players never do this, do you understand? Players never think about games like this, and he turned to Carlton
Hit the other
Fisk
way
and
out
said,
to right.
this is some kind of game, ain't it?
First foul. One of their stronger bats is on
Carlton
deck.
Fisk was the leadoff batter in the bottom of the 12th inning.
Here's Fisk.
It's a full count. That one's going to fall in for a hit. It's a fair ball.
Fisk takes high and inside. Ball 1.
He's in there with a 2-out single.
On deck.
This guy can't get
There
anybody.
have been
They're calling that
numerous
pin center,
heroics
risking
tonight,
no
both
runs.
sides. The 1-0 delivery to Fisk. He swings, long drive, left field.
He comes up a little bit short.
Home run! The Red Sox win!
That's another base hit.
Tied 3 games apiece. Carlton Fisk hit a 1-0 pitch. Was jamming out in the field. His teammates are waiting for him. The ball hit the foul pole. And the Red Sox have sent the World Series into Game 7 with a dramatic 7-6 victory. What a game. This is one of the greatest World Series games of all time.
I don't think the runner's going to be stopped.
When Carlton Fisk stood up, I just had this feeling inside, just as I had felt once before with the Brooklyn Dodgers, that something good was going to happen. Usually I feel terrible things are going to happen, but never could I have imagined that sight of his not only hitting the ball, but willing it fair.
He brings home a runner with that 2-out hit.
I think what it represented was just all of us wish we could control our destinies in a way that we can't usually. And the way the whole ballpark was moving with Fisk to will that ball instead of being foul fair was as if he really could make spiritual, magical things happen. And it happened, and it was great.
We will have a 7th game in the 1975 World Series.
The organist at Fenway Park broke into the Hallelujah Chorus. 12:34 a.m. Church bells rang out all across New England.
The final score, the Boston Red Sox 4, the Orioles
1. That game was like a Russian novel. It had character development. It had history behind it. It had plot moving forward. It had twists near the end. And then the spectacular conclusion. And the 7th game, which people underrate, which was decided in the 9th inning, was the exquisite literary denouement for it.
Game 7. 75 million people were watching on television, more than had seen any other sporting event in American history.
They interviewed Sparky Anderson, and he says, no matter what the outcome of this game is, my starting pitcher is going to the Hall of Fame. And I said, no matter what the outcome of this game is, I'm going to the Elliott Lounge.
3-0 pitch. Ball 4. Another run across. Red Sox lead 3-0 as Yastrzemski scores.
Bill Lee held the Reds scoreless for 5 innings, while his teammates ran up a 3-0 lead. But then Cincinnati came alive.
There's his blooper pitch. There it is. He was waiting for that one. That one is gone over everything. Now the Boston fans are becoming uneasy. There's a line shot to center. Here's a man rounding third. Here comes the throw. It is not in time. The other runners advance, and the Reds have tied it, and the runners are second and third. There's a looper. They drop. It's in for a hit. Here comes the throw to third. Rose hits the dirt. He's safe. And there goes Morgan down to second. And the Reds have the lead 4-3.
With 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th and the Reds leading 4-3, Carl Yastrzemski was the last Boston batter.
There's a high fly ball. It should be all over. Geronimo's under. And Cincinnati has won the World Championship, beating the Boston Red Sox 4-3. Win it in Fenway Park.
Boston would have to wait.
They wanted this one badly after winning 108 times this year. Setting all kinds of records. It would have been a deep...
The 1975 season gave baseball a galvanic moment that I believe changed much of the nation's attitude toward baseball. It seemed that we all stayed up all night long to see the conclusion of that. And it's from that moment that I date the resurgence of interest in baseball that came to establish all sorts of new records in attendance and viewership and every other measure that one could have.
We are progressing in this country.
baseball had a lot to do, really, with the change in the attitudes of people in the United States. We've got some people that still going the wrong way, but one thing about it is we've got more good ones than bad ones. And sports had a lot to do with that. Sports had a lot to do with that. It changed my life. It changed a lot of people's life.
In 1975, 3 years after Jackie Robinson had died, Frank Robinson, the only man ever to win the Most Valuable Player award in both leagues, became manager of the Cleveland Indians. Though there had been dozens of men like Rube Foster and Buck O'Neill running Negro League clubs who were more than qualified, Robinson was the first black manager in the majors.
If I had one wish that could be answered right today, that is the one wish I would have, that Jackie Robinson could be here to see this happening, this moment.
It would be 6 more years before the National League finally signed its first black manager. In 1981, the San Francisco Giants hired Frank Robinson.
Black people feel as though everything they're going to try to have to do in baseball is replicating Jackie Robinson all over again. Black people were aware when they had baseball teams that they ran the teams, and this is important. So black people have a certain sense of management in baseball, a certain historical and cultural memory of management in baseball that they do not have with other sports. Because at one time, black people did run teams, and they feel as though they're capable of running teams.
Clearly, to the owners, the enemy is not the players, whom the owners regard merely as ingrates, misled ingrates. The enemy is Marvin Miller, General of the Union. The showdown is with him. It's not over a few more $1,000, not the few thousand demanded for some obscure pension inflation. It is over the principle of who will run their baseball business. They, the Lords, or this man Miller? Dick Young.
Back in 1973, Marvin Miller and the Players Association had maneuvered the owners into agreeing to impartial, binding arbitration of salary disputes. Now, in 1975, after 10 years of battling with the owners, Miller was ready to take on the reserve clause.
From the beginning, I had felt that the contract which the owners had drawn up with the players simply gave the owners the right to extend a contract for 1 additional year when the player and owner could not agree on a new contract. The owners had interpreted this to mean an extension right that went for the life of the player. And I could not read that into that contract. So what we needed, obviously, were 2 things. First, we needed a grievance and arbitration procedure under which differences in interpretation would go before somebody impartial and not the owner's commissioner. Secondly, we needed a test case. Messersmith and McNally provided that.
In 1975, 2 first-rate pitchers, Dave McNally of the Montreal Expos and Andy Messersmith of the Los Angeles Dodgers, agreed to play 1 year without contracts, declared themselves free agents, then filed for a hearing before a new 3-man arbitration panel. Marvin Miller voted for the players. John Guerin, representing Major League Baseball, voted against them. The